What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catchpolia sitting on the couch making some money investing in fractional real estate online. As usual, today we're looking at the Rex. This is Mogul's latest Padsplit listing. It's an 8-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 1,900 square foot home in Mesa, Arizona. I'm going to try to do a quick video today. One, I just don't have a ton of time, but I think if you've watched all my recent videos, it's a lot of the same comments. Obviously, so I'm not gonna look at the flood map and the crime map and everything. I think everybody who's watched a couple of these, you know how to pull those up. And just in the interest of time, I'm not going to do that. But I think this is going to be in shaded X. The crime map looked a little bit better to me than some of the others that I've looked at, but not fantastic. But again, you always want to do all your own due diligence on these things. Don't just watch my videos and then make a decision, or definitely don't just pull up the listing and then make a decision on that, please. I mean, I think that is, I think the more people are doing that, and I think it's obvious that people are buying these out pretty quickly without really, they're just saying, hey, I trust Mogul, and I just want to buy everything they have. And, maybe that's a reasonable strategy. To me, I think the more we do that, the more they have an incentive to not just put out the great deals that we were seeing from them early. And so, obviously from that comment, you can tell, I don't think that they are, this is another one that I'm probably going to pass on, right? And so let's dig into a couple of reasons why. Well, it's another one that's a lower average yield than what we're used to seeing from them. Year one, what do they have in here? Year one rental income, 5.8. Oh, that's not right. Is this calculator broken? Because their email says something different. Oh no, let me stop. Yeah, I'm not sure if I just screwed something up. Their email says 8.03% year one yield, and then getting to that same average. I kind of wonder if I screwed something up to get that. And actually a higher average if I was messing with this calculator and changed it, or I'm not sure. Let me see if I go to the analysis tab and just pull this up again. I noticed it's kind of far down. It's right here. 11.8. No, it looks like it's, rental income 8%. Okay. And then, yeah, so that's in line with that. So I think I had just done something stupid. I don't know what it is. To ruin that. So anyway, it is, 8% year one yield. This is one, again, where the seller is converting it to 8 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and furnishing it and listing it on Padsplit. So it's another one where we don't have historical information that they're basing it off of. So I don't know, are they just being really conservative in their estimates, or are we not, is this just not going to do as well? So for example, I own the Gilmore in Tempe, and which is very close to this. Tempe's right by Mesa, and it has significantly higher yield projections, and it's an 8-bedroom pad split. So I'm not really sure what's going on with all these lower, projected yields, if it's just that they're being conservative because they are, because they're not up and running yet, or what it is. But so it's got the lower yields. I'm really going to try to do a quick video, so I'm only going to mention the things that seem problematic to me. One, they say it's 4 bedrooms or 4 bathrooms. I don't see a 4th bathroom on the floor plan, right? We've got the ensuite, which is right here. This is the bedroom 2 that has the ensuite, and it says there's only 1 bedroom with an ensuite. We've got bathroom 1. We've got bathroom 3. And so, like, if you count the ensuite as, that's the second one. Where I don't see another one. So I don't know, if it just didn't make it on the floor plan and it's going to be somewhere, or if this is really going to be a 3 bathroom. I'm a little bit confused about that. So I don't think that's, a huge deal either way. I think it can certainly work 8 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms as well, but I like the 4. I think that's a little bit better. But looking at the purchase and sale agreement again, I didn't see where the seller is actually obligated to do any of this work. And so I think this is the third time now that we're seeing this. It's at least the second. Well, and we saw it. It's definitely the third because on the Pinkman we saw it. But on the Pinkman, it was clear in the contract that this work had to be done. I couldn't find it in this contract. And so I'm curious where, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm missing it. If you saw it, maybe I'm scrolling through a section because it just looks like boilerplate and it's actually where they put it. I just didn't see it. So I'm guessing they just have a separate contract, but if they do, I'd like to see that, right? That'd be interesting to see exactly what we're up to, because, to me, it seems like quite a bit of risk. We're trusting that they're going to do a good job doing that work, that we're trusting they're going to buy reasonable furniture. They're going to get it up and running and presumably, put some members in there before we even close on it. And so, hopefully they're screening them properly and then we get some say in that. So I'd like a lot more detail on this agreement that we have to, this is just, it's pretty thin as far as like, what do we actually have going on here, right? Yeah, the seller's going to launch it on Padsplit, and I'd love to see the details of all of this agreement. I think we're pretty light on that. That's one issue. And so, okay, so I was comparing this to the Gilmore, right? The Gilmore, I think we spent $690,000 on. And again, it's in Tempe. It's relatively close to Mesa. I don't think that the rates are going to be so much different for room rentals. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. And that one has just a much higher yield. So I really wish I could understand what the big difference is here. Why are we really just projecting lower? Because they're being conservative, because they have to ramp it up and these are really going to kill it? I don't know. But then my only other real issue with these, and it's been the case with a bunch of the most recent ones, is the valuation. So, this property was just sold for $270,000. When was that sale? I think it was just earlier this year. Now, obviously, it was renovated since then. And it's being, extra bedrooms and everything. But we've got his estimate here, $370,000. So, okay, the $270, that was a steal because it needed some work. But are we really, we're paying, what did I say we're paying? $520, right? Is there really $150,000, $250,000, in value created? And yes, we're getting some furniture and we're getting extra bathrooms. I mean, it just seems tough to me, right? And so, Zillow it doesn't realize the size of this, right? So this estimate, maybe that's not great. I think though, do we have the right size on here? Oh, maybe I missed that these are. Oh, Zillow thinks it's all the wrong size, or all of these do. Because this one in Realtor has an estimate, it always drops down, 337. And Redfin 349, but they all have this listed as 1,200 square feet. So, okay, we are getting more square footage than what any of them see. I missed that when I was looking at this before. That could change my mind a little bit if I didn't look at the comps that they had. And this has been one of the things that I've complained about quite a bit. It seems like that they're cherry picking comps. This time, they have all relatively close comps. So let's see, where are we? We're starting right here. And then, so we've got a comp here, and a comp there. They're reasonably close. They're still not as close as I'd like to see, but I want to show you the comps that they picked out that they're using, right? Okay, we've got this one here. The relatively similar sizes, right? If we look at their comp chart, 2000, 1.9, 1.6, weighted average 1.9, and so ours is going to be 1.9. So that's perfectly fine, right? But they've got an in-ground pool here. Now, I don't know I know in some markets people don't value pools at all. In San Antonio, you're going to get, for a pool like this in your backyard, depending on what part of town and a bunch of other things, it might create $50,000 to $100,000 in value difference that your home's going to sell for, compared to one without the pool. So this is just not a comp I'd ever use for a home without a pool. Plus, it looks like, I mean, you have this little air-conditioned maybe pool house in addition to it. I didn't even notice that in the description. Is that cover patio, sparkling pool? Yeah, separate casita in the rear. Oh, not included in the lease. Okay, this is actually the lease for it. So, I mean, using this property as a sale comp, you know, when it's got a casita, it's got a pool, I think that's really a stretch, right? And then the next one, I mean, this property, I think it's the same thing. You know, okay, maybe it's not as nice of a renovation, but we get down here, and again, it's got a big in-ground pool. You know, it's got the outdoor fireplace and stuff. Like, this is typically going to, at least in my market, this would create significant value. I'm assuming it's going to in Arizona as well. So, like, if I were looking at this, and I would make an adjustment, you know, if I'm using this as a comp, which I just would never use it as a comp. But if it's the only similar comp and I'm forced to, I'm going to say, okay, mine is going to be worth significantly less than this one. Maybe 50,000, maybe 75. Maybe more. I mean, you know, to put a pool in like this, it can be pretty expensive in my market. So I'm assuming it's something similar. You know, obviously I could be wrong about that, but it seems like it seems like they're cherry picking comps very strongly to try to get ones to justify the price. So those two both have pools. And then the third one doesn't have a pool, but I noticed, oh wow, that backyard looks really big. Well, it's on almost a half an acre, right? Like 40% of an acre. Ours is on, let's see, where is it? It's on 8,000 square feet, which is like a fifth of an acre. Is that right? Yeah, right around a fifth of an acre. So you've got more than double, you know, more than triple? No, but more than double the amount of square footage, the amount of land in this lot size, right? So again, I mean, that's going to be something that if I were looking at these, I'd want to make a huge adjustment, especially because, like, I mean, but again, you know, maybe the renovation's not as nice and it's a lived-in home and they're tougher to sell sometimes when they have all the clutter and whatnot. But like, yeah, you just have this huge backyard. It's got like a RV, like a gate so you can park your RV in the back. It's got this little gazebo. Uh, it's not, to me, this is not what I'm looking for as far as a comp for, you know, it's just not an apples to apples comparison. So the fact that the three that they picked out, two of them have a, you know, in-ground pool. The third one has a gigantic lot. It really just looks like we're cherry picking to get to a higher value, right? Because we don't have either of those, right? We don't have the pool, we don't have the big lot, and I don't even know where we're getting the square footage. Like, are we like taking space from the garage, right? Is this 2-car garage going to be gone? Actually, I think it is, right? I think that's what's happening right here. If we, I don't know that for sure, but it looks like they're making a garage out of the bedrooms, right? And if they're doing that, okay, so now if these homes, do these homes have garages? Maybe not. No, we just have a carport there. Okay, so that's good at least. But you know, this is the sort of comparison that I'm typically doing. Yeah, and again, maybe we just have a carport there, so maybe we're doing good, or we're doing perfectly fine with that. Well, this one we've got this whole little drive-through garage, so they just, in my mind, those are three terrible comps. Like, I would just never pick those, and so it makes me worry about the valuation for when we go to sell. Right, if we're actually paying $50,000 to $100,000 more than we should be for the property, well, then our back end assumptions, because we're, you know, looking at appreciation based on our purchase price, is going to again be a problem. You know, most of the time when I haven't bought one of their properties, it's been because I don't agree with their, you know, I think we're paying too much. I do want to remind you, they do the appraisal contingencies, and let's look. I'm pretty sure I saw it. yeah, they have, but we've seen in the past where, it didn't appraise and, they just upped the leverage a little bit, and because the deal didn't get any worse from a numbers perspective, they still move forward. I also know that, appraisers are just really good at hitting numbers, right? Coming up with a value of a home that's whatever it's under contract for. Um, so it just worries me. It worries me that it's going to become difficult to sell unless, we are just able to sell it as a business in the future and somebody else is willing to pay for the higher yield. But if that's the case, I only want to be paying that higher number if we're buying in-place yield like we've done with a bunch of theirs in the past. That's not the case on this one, right? Just like it wasn't on the last one, because yes, it might be started, but we don't have that year of history, that ongoing business. So I don't know. I've passed on quite a few of Mogul's deals now in a row. I hope that this isn't just like. I hope what's happening is they're just being more conservative in their underwriting because they don't have that history, and that these deals end up being great deals. But I'm just not going to invest in a deal based on my hopes, right? Like, I need a little bit more, and I do think they're doing a great job in general on their platform with the properties that I own. And so, I can understand some people being like, I'm just going to trust, that they're good at this business, and I'm going to buy into it. But because it's such a different thing than what we've done before, right? We haven't seen them. These are all these ones that they have right now are the first ones that we've seen them ramp up a business from scratch. And so we have no idea how good they are at predicting income on ones like that. And because of that, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait and see how these go. And again, and then if they're fantastic, maybe I'll pick them up in the secondary market when that opens, and maybe I have to pay a little bit extra for it. Who knows? It's still all speculation how that's going to go. But that's really all I wanted to talk about for this one, right? I think that you just have to, in my mind, I mean, it's just so hard to see how we get to this value, right? When all these now. I wish, if these ones had a good square footage size too, though, maybe it would be different, right? I mean, it is really because we're finishing out that garage space, I believe. That's what's going to get us that extra square footage in the property. What would happen if we did the $225 per square foot times 1900? 1900 times 225. Yeah, we're still only getting to 427, right? So if we're making that adjustment, and let's do the same thing here, right? How many dollars per square foot? 37,400 divided by 1,200 times 1,900. Okay, well that if we use this estimate, then that does get us there. That's interesting. And then what about Redfin? We'd even be a little bit better, right? If we're using their 349, 981 divided by 1,200 times 1,900. Yeah, and so, okay, if we did that and we're saying 291, then we get there. Now, often when you have converted garage square footage, you're not getting the same, the highest value that you're getting for, it just depends, right? And as your property gets larger, your dollars per square foot tend to go down. Oh yeah, we got the 292 here. So it's tough. I think you could do, if you were really interested in this one, I think you could do a lot more work on comps and try to find ones to justify it, but it just seems really tough to get into the fives. Like I said, I mean, the three comps that we got that got us into fives, two had in-ground pools, one of which had a casita along with it. Really over the top landscaping as well, which, sometimes adds to it, although a little bit maybe more tired property. And then one of them had a gigantic lot, right? So I'd like to see, and again, we're not taking directly from our neighborhood, although we are much closer than we've been in the past. That's the other thing too, is, I mean, this is not the type of, we're backed up to this, what is this, all like Doug's Bugs and Bunnies? I don't know. But, we're backed up to like this retail center, which is just never, this is not an ideal, this is not a property that you tend to get top dollar for as well, right? And so because of all those things, I mean, I'm going to pass on this one again. Hopefully I mean, one, I think if they keep selling out easily, I mean, maybe they don't get to a point where they feel like they have to kind of start to explain, like, what are we doing here? But I think especially when we have a business model like this, I'd love to see a lot more detail, really like to see the contract itself, but also when we're using comps that just don't make a lot of sense, I just wish we got a little bit more color on, like, okay, why are we using those comps? And I hope the answer isn't, well, they're the only ones that get us into this purchase price that we're paying, right? I don't know. Because it does feel like more and more we are paying more than I'm comfortable with for a lot of these properties. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I could be wrong about it. I'm curious what you have to... Oh, before I forget, please like and subscribe. In the description to this video, I have links to all the places where I'm currently investing in fractional real estate online. Mogul being one of them. You can get some free money if you use the referral code. If you haven't, if you didn't start off there already. But do your own due diligence on all of those platforms, on that program that they have as far as that goes, and any properties, right? Just because I'm using a platform or buying specific properties doesn't mean that you should. But also, I have a link in the description of this video to the Discord I have set up. There's a lot of great discussion about these properties in the Mogul section of that link. But there's over 200 of us on a regular, that are talking about fractional real estate on a regular basis. So please feel free to join that if you haven't already. If you are going to buy this one, and if you've bought the Hardin or any of these ones that I've passed on, I am really curious what your thought process is. Are you just not too? One of the things that I think about sometimes is like, okay, maybe the value never gets there, and we just get an 8% yield forever, or starts at 8% and climbs. That to me is a lot more compelling if we were buying in place yield. But where this is one that they're going to have to ramp it up also, I don't know, because I would like to, I'd like some more Arizona properties, right? But I'm not going to, for me, I'm not going to stretch into what in my mind looks like additional risk over and above what we had seen on there. Now, where I've passed on a whole bunch in a row, maybe this is going to be the new normal, right? Maybe we're going to have to come to expect, like, okay, we're going to get a little bit lower yields than we thought before. Maybe they are going to start really stretching on purchase prices to be able to keep finding deals. I don't, the way the market's been, at least in my area, it doesn't seem like they should have to be doing that. But maybe the demand for Padsplit specifically is going up, although this one they're converting for us. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on. Hopefully, all of us can ask them some good questions in the next webinar, or maybe just, some people reach out to them. And, if I guess one thing I'm curious, is anybody else concerned about the direction of the average quality of the deal, right? Like, do you think, okay, have I gotten too picky, right? Like, are the few like really amazing deals kind of clouding my judgment, or are they really getting the same quality deals, but they are presenting them more conservatively? Like, I think that's possible too. And it's tough to know until we start to see how some of these go. It's tough to know what's really going on. Now, obviously, I don't think they're presenting their valuations, but I think that's kind of been a problem, right? A lot of the ones that I've passed on from the very beginning have been on the valuation side. But sometimes I've used like the high yields to justify by, even though yield's temporary, basis is forever. But still sometimes I'll use a real high yield to justify, okay, well, maybe we'll stretch a little bit on that purchase price. But, now that the yields seem like, okay, maybe they're not as high. I don't know. Anyway, curious to hear your thoughts. That is all I'm going to share with you today on this. It wasn't super quick, but quicker than my average. Sorry for skipping all the normal stuff. But hopefully, maybe some people can post those in the Discord as far as the flood map, crime map, all the usual things that we look at, the Padsplit listing. Like I said, been super busy and wanted to get something out before this sold out. Anyway, until next time, I'm going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.